Cecil, I appreciated your post and the insight you offered into the concept of suicidality among African American youth. Although it makes sense that research is conducted retrospectively, it is sad that we have not been able to determine predictors of suicide and that would ultimately lead to suicide prevention in this particular group of underserved youth. The eligibility criteria you listed made excellent sense. Research indicates that history of abuse, poverty, and issues with mental health all increase the likelihood of suicidal ideation. My only question, which you may have addressed in your paper, is how would you go about obtaining informed consent from parents or guardians in order to perform those surveys? I would just have to believe that children who were in those situations, that their parents would be fairly protective of them. So I'm just curious. Additionally, have you thought about being able to involve children in the foster care system in this study? According to a study done in 2011 by Lawrence et al., adolescents in foster care are more likely to attempt or commit suicide than children who are not in foster care. This study didn't control for specific gender, race, or ethnicity, but it did indicate that 22 out of every 1,000 children committed suicide and 225 out of every 1,000 attempted suicide. And all of those children were in foster care. Suicide is never easy. It's never an easy subject to discuss, even more so when the conversation surrounds children. When I hear about adults who commit suicide, I mourn for them and their families, and I wish they had sought help instead of addressing a likely temporary situation with a permanent solution. But when the conversation turns to children, it's vastly more difficult. If I were to encounter a youth who was struggling with thoughts of suicide, whom I knew to be a Christian, I would like to think that I would first approach them with the reminder that we're given in Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. Hearing this verse is definitely not going to fix everything immediately, but it is definitely a source for Christians who are experiencing difficulties. Cecil, good luck. It was great to hear from you, and thank you for your service.